headed over to Raw, generally, to get a fight on pay-per-view. You're in the pool of guys that fights on pay-per-view. And Rountree, you couldn't tell me the last time you saw him do a fight on pay-per-view. So you're not overly familiar with him. That's the real reality. He's ranked number 8. They haven't gone that low. They haven't gone that low ever when higher ranked guys that have never been given the opportunity are fresh, healthy, and available. And the point that I'm trying to make for you, you haven't considered Rountree. You haven't watched Rountree. You don't know a lot about Rountree. You don't know he's finished his last 5 guys. You don't know about the power he's got in his hands. You don't understand how good his defenses are. You don't understand that some of his most impressive knockouts, and not just win his last 5, but some of his most impressive work comes when he's countering strikers. And as good as Alex Pereira is, he still makes the mistakes that the greats mistake. Like, the greats could just never, they just couldn't do it because it doesn't look cool in their mind. Like when you get better at fighting, you will get away from the fundamentals more and more. You just think it's cool. On your very first day, you will be taught to keep your chin down and keep your hands up. But once you start winning championships in kickboxing, believe me, those hands are going to be coming down. And that chin is going to be up. That's a display to the coaches in the world. I'm seasoned, I'm ready, I'm just that good. I just bring that to you. When you play that game, it really doesn't matter who the better kickboxer is. Like, you won't hear very many analysts when Alex Pereira is going to fight. We'll give him compliments in a lot of other areas, just not that one. No matter how many men you've beat, if your fights are here in 4-ounce gloves against tough talent, you are eligible and susceptible to be knocked out. I mean, I'm just bringing that to your attention because what a risk this fight is. Would you have taken it? Would you have taken it? And it was, the strategy here was well played. When you have Ankalaev and you couldn't find me an example in history where you had a number 1 contender call out the champion and you had the champion publicly accept the number 1 contender. And not one time, not mentioned over here and only the hardcores have it. It's done many times. Many times they have both agreed to fight. And you couldn't show me a time in history where that fight then was not made. So, and you really smart marks that can, but you understand if there's illness or injury, it changes what I'm talking about. And in this case, we've gone to number 8. But before we did it, we were tactical and we were strategic. And we released what number 1 was doing. If the question was to ever come up, why did the champion not get it against number 1? You have a very clear answer that came out over 3 weeks ago. Are you not paying attention? He has a fight. I don't want to hold the champion up. I've got to fight. And you see, there was a lot of wheels that went into motion here. And nothing is done on accident, not on this level. So it can be very fun. I enjoy that part.
If he's not famous, he should sue the UFC.
I make one phone call and actually find out the answer. I don't want it. I want to guess with you guys. So we had a very clear strategy here, right? There's only one guy that Ankalaev could fight. And that was Rachel.
Fight fans, welcome back to Luxury Tainments. Deep into one of the most in the UFC Light Heavyweight division, Alex Pereira versus Khalil Rountree Jr. This fight promises fireworks as the two of the division's most dangerous strikers are set to collide in a battle that could easily end in a knockout. So buckle up as we break down the fight, the fighters, their strengths, weaknesses, and what we can expect when the cage door closes. Let's start with the reigning champion, Alex Pereira. Pereira comes into this fight with an impressive professional MMA record of 11 wins and only 2 losses, with 9 of those wins coming by the way of knockouts or technical knockouts. He has transitioned beautifully from his kickboxing background, where he was already a world champion, into the UFC, where he's been making waves ever since. Pereira has been absolutely dominant since moving up to light heavyweight, knocking out formidable opponents like Jiří Procházka and Khalil. His knockout power, precision, and experience in high-pressure situations make him a clear favorite in this fight. On the other side, we have Khalil Rountree Jr, the number 8 ranked contender in the division. Rountree holds a record of 13 wins, 5 losses, and 1 no contest, with 9 of his victories coming by the way of knockouts. Known for his aggressive, high-paced striking style, Rountree has been on a 5-fight winning streak, earning his shot at the title. Despite some early setbacks in his UFC career, Rountree has evolved, adding new tools to his arsenal and stringing together impressive wins over opponents like Chris Daukaus and Anthony Smith. This fight is expected to be a stand-up war. Both fighters are known for their striking skills, and with both men having a majority of their wins by knockout, we're not likely to see this fight hit the mat. Pereira, however, is widely considered the more accurate and devastating striker. He has the ability to end fights with a single punch, and he has a proven track record of doing just that. 9 of his 11 wins have come by the way of knockout. Pereira's precision is one of the greatest weapons. He doesn't throw wild punches or kicks. Every strike is calculated. His ability to close distance, mix up his attacks, and land clean shots on his opponents is unparalleled. When you add his power to the equation, it's easy to see why so many are predicting another knockout win for the Brazilian. On the other hand, Khalil Rountree Jr is no slouch. When it comes to striking, he is an aggressive fighter who loves to push the pace, often overwhelming his opponents with his ferocity. His recent knockout win over Chris Daukaus and Anthony Smith shows that he still possesses fighting-ending power, even in the later rounds. However, Rountree has struggled against top-tier competition in the past, and 2 of his last 3 losses have come by knockouts. Let's now take a look at the key advantages and disadvantages for both fighters. Alex Pereira's advantages: precision and accuracy. Pereira's striking is sharp and technical. He's not just swinging for the fences. Every punch has a purpose. Power. The Brazilian is known for his fight-ending power. Whether it's a punch, a kick, or a knee, Pereira has the ability to knock out any opponent. Championship experience. Pereira has been in high-stakes fights throughout his career, both in kickboxing and MMA. He's fought the best. He's beaten the best, including former middleweight champion Israel Adesanya. Now let's look at the disadvantages for Pereira. Age. At 37 years old, Pereira may not have the speed and endurance he once had, especially too aggressive. Now let's look at the advantages for Khalil Rountree. Aggressiveness. Rountree thrives in chaotic, fast-paced exchanges. His willingness to engage and push the pace can unsettle even the most composed fighters. Knockout power. Like Pereira, Rountree possesses knockout power, and he's more than capable of ending the fight with a single strike. And now for the disadvantages for Rountree. Chin. Durability. Rountree has been knocked out twice in his last 3 losses, which raises concerns about how well he can handle Pereira's power. Inconsistency against elite opponents. Rountree has struggled when facing high-level competition, and his previous knockout losses could shake his confidence against a striker as lethal as Pereira. Now for Pereira, the path to victory seems clear. He will likely use his technical striking to find openings, gradually wearing down Rountree before landing the knockout blow. Pereira's patience, combined with his ability to capitalize on even the slightest mistake, gives him a significant advantage. As we've seen in his last 4 light heavyweight fights, he doesn't need much time to find that opening. Rountree, on the other hand, will need to push the pace and make this a dirty fight. If he allows Pereira to dictate the distance and tempo, it will only be a matter of time before Pereira lands something significant. Rountree's best chance lies in overwhelming Pereira with his pressure and catching him in a wild exchange, much like he did in his wins over Modestas Bukakas and Carl Robertson. Now, with all these factors considered, the odds are in favor of Alex Pereira. Retaining his light heavyweight title, he's more than accurate striker, he's been on a tear since moving up in weight, and he's knocked out 9 of his 11 opponents. Khalil Rountree Jr. is a dangerous fighter, but given his past struggles against elite strikers, it's hard to see him getting the better of Pereira. The most likely outcome: another knockout win for the reigning champion. Alex Pereira's precision and power will prove too much for Khalil Rountree Jr., and we expect to see Poatan add another knockout victory to his already impressive resume.
I just bring that to you. When you play that game, it really doesn't matter who the better kickboxer is. Like, you won't hear very many analysts when Alex Pereira is going to fight. We'll give him compliments in a lot of other areas, just not that one. No matter how many men you've beat, if your fights are here, in 4-ounce gloves against tough talent, you are eligible and susceptible to be knocked out. I mean, I just bring that to your attention because what a risk this fight is. Would you have taken it? Would you have taken it? And it was, the strategy here was well played. When you have Ankalaev and you couldn't find me an example in history where you had a number 1 contender call out the champion and you had the champion publicly accept the number 1 contender, and not one time, not mentioned over here and only the hardcores have it. It's done many times, many times. They have both agreed to fight, and you couldn't show me a time in history where that fight then was not made. So, and you really smart marks that can, but you understand if there's illness or injury, it changes what I'm talking about. And in this case, we've gone to number 8, but before we did it, we were tactical and we were strategic, and we released what number 1 was doing. So if the question was to ever come up, why did champion not get...
Thank you, fight fans, once again for joining us on this in-depth preview of the upcoming UFC Light Heavyweight title fight between Alex Pereira and Khalil Rountree Jr. It's bound to be an explosive contest, and we can't wait to see who will come out on top. Stay tuned to Luxurytainment for more fight previews, breakdowns, and all things combat sports. And have a lovely day.